Welcome back to Human Resources for the People. It's a human capital revolution. Today we're going to be looking at this article from Constangi, Brooks, Smith, and Profete. It's a law firm, and this one is really well written. I encourage you to check it out down below. It's pretty good. And it says request for FMLA leave is a protected activity, the court says, even if the employee doesn't qualify. And that's the interesting and important part today. So an employee was hired as an attorney for 20 in at a Detroit area law firm in 2018. To be clear here, 2018 is important because in 2020 COVID hit. That meant that she had been there for 2 years, and so as a result, she was eligible for COVID or for FMLA at this point. And so in 2020, COVID is just about to get going, and the team was scheduled to work from home to figure out how they're going to handle it. And at the time, Miss Millman had a boy who was vulnerable of COVID because they were recently hospitalized with RSV. And so she asked to work from home on the 16th and 17th out of nervousness. So that's really important here, not because this is having RSV or having RSV previously is not a qualifying FMLA reason to stay home, right? And that's the important note here. So on March 17th, the boss, while she was out on PTO, the boss called to figure out whether or not she was coming in on the 19th. She was looking at it, but her son was starting to exhibit some COVID-like symptoms. On the 18th, the day that Miss Millman and her team were assigned to work from home, the son got worse. And so the boss wanted to see if they were coming into the office the next day. Miss Millman, son wasn't any better. So she called HR and offered to take unpaid leave because so she wouldn't have to come back into the office. And HR didn't really respond. But said she could continue to work from home through the end of the week. And all was well, and Miss Millman was cool until the end of the day. At the end of the day, Miss Millman got an email from HR saying, you failed to come in on Monday and Tuesday. You said you were going to take PTO. Then you said you were going to come back in on Thursday. Then you decided not to. As a result, today will be your last day on payroll, which is just rough. I mean, that's just insane. It's a little bit, I understand why they made the decision. It's just that it didn't have to be made that way. This is a employee who has been at the law firm for 2 years, and she sued the law firm for FMLA retaliation. So she didn't qualify for FMLA, right? The fear of COVID is not, or the fear of impact of COVID is not a qualifying medical condition that requires a parent to take to stay home. That said, this could have been handled so much better by a better HR department, one that is more willing to work with employees instead of cause troubles like this. And so I think it's a really interesting lesson. The lesson here is if you're asking for FMLA or appearing to ask for FMLA, it could be considered retaliation. I do think that this will ultimately get turned over in the courts. The law firm was initially upheld. A circuit court overturned the initial ruling, and I imagine this will go on and eventually be overturned because this isn't possible. But the courts were concerned about nipping FMLA in the bud, or making it a problem and firing someone as a result of it. That's all I got today on Human Resources for the People. I hope it was an interesting one. It's interesting to me, and I think that there's a lot of value to learn as an HR person, as an employee. As always, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.